coming up tonight on the news at 6. Lewis and Clark County secured hundreds of thousands in grant money. How it will be put to use to help voters. Plus,
we're seeing an escalation in the violence that people are experiencing in their homes.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. What One Helena group is doing to shed light on that sensitive topic.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the News at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Well, Montana set another record for new COVID-19 cases today with 429 new cases reported. That shatters the previous record by 81 cases. The state also announced another death, this person from Sweetgrass County. There are nearly 3,900 active COVID-19 cases in the state. More than 9,400 people are considered recovered. Lewis and Clark County leaders say they're working on the ongoing work on the jail renovation project is temporarily delayed due to COVID-19 cases in the facility. 4 inmates and 7 staff members at the detention center have tested positive for the virus. Today, Sheriff Leo Dutton confirmed that the contractor working at the detention center is testing its employees. They plan to resume work once the tests are complete. Crews are remodeling all 3 floors of the facility to reduce overcrowding. They have now started work on the top floor where inmates are currently held. That means crews are in closer proximity to jail staff than they were before. And Lewis and Clark Public Health is changing how they review events in response to a surge in coronavirus cases. Under the new process, event organizers should allow up to 30 days for public health to review plans. The health department says the new guidelines are a direct result of a surge in local cases and the need to shift resources to contact tracing and other time-sensitive tasks. Over the past 7 days, the county has reported 78 cases of COVID-19. And over the past month, the positivity rate for local cases has climbed from 0.9% to 4.2%. The positivity rate is the percentage of positive test results in each batch of tests. All right, now let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz for first weather.
Well, we were due kind of not as nice of a day here after several days in a row of beautiful blue sky and comfortable temperatures. It still wasn't so bad out there. A live look from haze, and yeah, there is some haze out there, but most of it is in the upper levels of the atmosphere. You can kind of see the grayness out there, but look at this. Most of the state, with the exception of Seeley Lake, looking at good air quality still. And that's because a lot of that smoke is high on up in the sky, 15, 20, 25,000 feet. Happy October, everybody. There are no October days anytime soon. Temperatures will remain warm here through the weekend and into next week. And it's all because of this high pressure that is leaving us very dry. And with the dry weather comes the fire danger still. Please be careful out there. More on the full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Curtis. And Lewis and Clark County leaders accepted a major grant to help get ready for COVID-19's impact on the November election. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian breaks down how the money will aid voters.
On Thursday morning, the Lewis and Clark County Commission voted to accept $215,000 from a national nonprofit. That money will help ensure the election is run smoothly and help inform voters about the changes in election procedures. The grant comes from the Center for Tech and Civic Life. The organization got $250 million from Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan to help local election offices adjust during the pandemic. Lewis and Clark County is running its November election by mail. County leaders say they have a number of plans for the grant money, including buying personal protective equipment for election workers, adding equipment for mail ballot processing, and setting up a drive-through ballot drop site in Helena starting later this month, and drop boxes in places like East Helena, Lincoln, and Augusta on Election Day. They also plan nonpartisan voter outreach to help county residents understand how to vote after the changes due to COVID-19 and legal cases, and to clear up any misinformation.
The most important part, at least in my mind, of this grant is so that people know that when the Lewis and Clark County Elections Department speaks, they will be able to recognize that voice, trust that information, because this is a very basis of how our country is governed, is by the consent of the governed.
In one example of the confusion voters could face this year, county leaders are reminding voters to have their mail ballots into the election office by 8 p.m. on Election Day, after a court ruling that extended that deadline was overturned. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
While the grant is primarily for the November election, leaders say things like new equipment and better communications from the elections office are benefits that will carry into the coming years. Helena's Friendship Center, a safe haven for people impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, has seen an increased demand for services since the pandemic began. Right now, they are raising funds to help the victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and shed light on those sensitive topics. MTN's John Riley reports.
Domestic violence is an epidemic in Montana and the country at large. According to the Department of Justice, last year someone in Montana reported being beaten, abused, or strangled by a partner or family member every 2.5 hours. Staff at the Friendship Center say the pandemic has only amplified the issue.
Unfortunately, isolation is a large part of how abusers maintain control over their victims, and the pandemic has just exacerbated the isolation that people are experiencing. We're seeing an escalation in the violence that people are experiencing in their homes, and violence is escalating more rapidly than ever.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. For the occasion, the Friendship Center has launched their Face the Violence fundraising campaign, and they are encouraging people to talk openly about the subject. The Friendship Center served more than 600 people last year and is the only shelter of its kind in Lewis and Clark, Jefferson, and Broadwater counties.
It's important for people to have a safe outlet to reach out to in which they are treated with dignity and respect.
If you or someone you know is in a violent situation, know that help is available. The Friendship Center offers a 24-hour hotline. Advocates can help victims and survivors find the support they need and get to a safe place. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
This story is part of the Rebound Montana, stories that aim to connect people to the help they might need in the pandemic. The Friendship Center staff are able to provide emergency shelter for families in need regardless of gender. They also connect individuals with law enforcement and help with legal assistance and counseling. You can find more Rebound stories and resources online at ktvh.com. And Montana U.S. Senator Steve Daines met with Supreme Court nominee Coney Barrett today. Senator Daines' office provided these photos and videos of the meeting. In a release, Senator Daines says he and Coney Barrett discussed the Second Amendment and protecting coal and energy jobs. He says Coney Barrett has his full support.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett is a brilliant jurist. She's fair-minded, and to top it all off, she's a minivan mom. And I can tell you the people of Montana look up to you. You are the kind of justice that Montanans will greatly respect.
President Donald Trump nominated Amy Coney Barrett to fill the Supreme Court seat previously held by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And still ahead on the news at 6, a weekend concert designed to create unity, how it is already meeting that goal.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. Steed Industries is hosting a free concert this Saturday in Helena to celebrate freedom and unity in the midst of the pandemic. MTN's Alexia Guayo has the story.
The stage is set. The flag is raised for the Let Freedom Ring concert, an event the organizers hope to remind the community of America's freedoms and unity before the pandemic.
All of us have been real hit hard by this year and everything that's happened, and then all the division on top of that is something that it's tough to see, especially for freedom-loving Americans, and that's what we wanted to do is bring something that can bring us all together in an act of unity.
That act of unity seems to be showing already, as many local businesses have poured in with support to sponsor the event, even the businesses hit hardest by the pandemic.
The support from the community has been insane, you know. We have multiple businesses, the ones that are hit hardest, asking how much is, you know, sponsorships, what's your smallest one, asking about these.
Inspired by a Unity concert in a TV show, Jerry and his brother Josh decided to use as much as they could within their business, Steed Industries, to create the stage in an 80-acre property to follow social distancing and other COVID-19 guidelines. The brothers hope everyone can set aside their political differences for one night.
We all want peace. We all want unity. And hopefully for one night we can get that.
The organizers have stated that any profits made from this event will be donated to a local organization. In Helena, I'm Lexi Aguayo, MTM News.
Organizers say they received permission from Public Health to host the event. And now let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz for what's coming up in weather.
We all want peace. We all want some live music back, too. That'd be great. How about the full harvest moon out there tonight? A little haze for the harvest moon. All the more in the forecast coming up.
Weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Not as beautiful and blue of a sky as we've been seeing over the last few days, but hey, that's the law of averages. That's how it goes. 69 degrees in Helena right now. Calm conditions as far as the wind goes. And again, the air quality is good. Most of that smoke is in the upper levels of the atmosphere, 15, 20, 25,000 feet. The farther away the source, typically the source of the smoke, that is the wildfires, the higher the smoke in the sky. And this smoke is coming from California wildfires. Great Falls, a grayish sky, 70 degrees. And I want to remind everybody, 1 year ago today we had a record low 9, and there were several inches of snow on the ground in Great Falls, several feet of snow on the ground 1 year ago along the Rocky Mountain front. A little cooler the farther east you go in the state here, and we've got still a few 60s and 70s in western and central Montana. Not much on the radar. That's not even reaching the ground up on the radar here. And of course, technically still a few active wildfires here in the state, although those fires are not growing, or at least not yet. Some windy days, and of course it's been dry, and we could see some of that wildfire activity picking up yet until we see a series of season-ending events. Nice, cool, rainy weather into the Great Lakes and the Northeast. The smoke, yes, it returned because the high pressure has turned a bit. The high was up off towards the west of Montana, but now with it kind of relocating off towards the south, that's allowing a southwest flow to blow some of that wildfire smoke into the state. The good news is we'll have a little minor front come through during the day tomorrow, so that it still may be a little hazy, but look for improving conditions by sunset tomorrow. Certainly Saturday should be another mostly sunny, clear, blue sky day here for a lot of the state. However, as long as we've got that source of wildfires creating some smoke down there in California, anytime the wind flow switches around to the southwest, a broad southwest flow, and that could turn some of that smoke back into the state. So maybe Sunday, a little hazy conditions coming back here before we clear out some of that smoke for Monday and Tuesday of next week. No precipitation likely for most of the state. There could be a couple of showers out there, far eastern Montana, Fort Peck Lake out there around Glasgow and Jordan. Just a few sprinkles for tomorrow. This isn't going to fill up the rain gauge by any means. Saturday, a clearer day as far as haze goes. May have still a few high clouds coming through. Sunday, a little southwest flow again, and we could have grayer skies, hazier skies, and then into Monday, looking at maybe a shower into eastern Montana. That's it. A couple of showers at best here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all look dry next week. Tonight, temperatures down into the 30s and the 40s. Not as cold, not as frosty or freezing as it was for some locations like it was this morning. And here's the forecast for tomorrow, Friday. Nice day here. Again, a little hazy. Some of that smoke will be decreasing as we go through the day. Temperatures in the 60s and the 70s. Saturday looks like a gorgeous day, 60s and 70s. Light wind, Sunday. A little more in the way of wind, some warmth, some haze coming back into the sky. Watch the fire danger, please, if you are outside here this weekend. And then heading into Monday, looking at a little breezy conditions here with temperatures in the 60s and the 70s. 7-day forecast for Helena. We're in the 70s, if not the 80s, as we go through the next 7 days, and smoke coming and going as it chooses to do so. And for Great Falls, 60s tomorrow, up through the 70s over the weekend, a little hazy skies on Sunday, and we may be back into the low 80s at times next week.
Coming up, meet one Montana business owner who has transitioned to reach new customers during the pandemic.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back. COVID-19 has dealt a blow to businesses across the country, but MTN's Megan Mannering introduces us to one Montana business owner that says the pandemic has been anything but a setback.
The future of the Confident Stitch looked grim when COVID made its way to Montana, forcing storefronts to close.
You know, at first when we shut down, I told my staff that they wouldn't have to work. They probably wouldn't be working full time for a while.
Kate McIver, owner of this 5-year-old sewing shop on Front Street, had always relied on in-store purchases for the bulk of her business. But just like that, her online shop would need to take over. McIver had doubts that it would work.
I had spent the 4.5 years creating a beautiful website, but I was having a lot of trouble getting traction.
But with a sudden change in where and how consumers shop, the physical location of the Confident Stitch really didn't matter anymore. It became just as accessible as any other sewing shop in the world.
As soon as stores shut down nationwide, our online orders exploded. So in April, we had 10 times the amount of revenue from online as we did in April of 2019.
McIver's fabrics and pattern sales are now reaching far beyond Missoula, Montana.
People from New York City order from us, people from Seattle and San Francisco. We've had some European orders, Australia and New Zealand as well.
What began as a reluctant switch to her online shop saved the Confident Stitch and all of its employees.
It's been a blessing in disguise for us, for sure. And I hope that other businesses find ways to pivot as well.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
All right, and we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6 when we come back.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
All right, for people trying to figure out what to do for Halloween this year, this is the story for you. A Virginia couple found the answer to socially distanced trick-or-treating. Chris and Nicole Miner of Roanoke knew they didn't want to chuck candy off their porch to trick-or-treaters, so instead, they came up with a candy slide. They went to the local hardware store, bought some PVC pipe and orange paint, and made the slide. After building and testing it, they posted a picture on Facebook where it got a whole lot of attention. Chris Miner says, when you have an engineer and a future pediatrician working together, any fun idea seems possible. The candy slide may be a trick-or-treat saver in 2020, but Miner says he plans to keep it around.
And I bet you could fit a 12-ounce can right down that little slide there if I know that guy's an engineer. All right, here's a look at the 7-day forecast tomorrow. Maybe still a little haze, especially early on, but the haze, the clouds will be moving out, and another really nice day shaping up, especially by the afternoon and the evening. The weekend, the 1st of October, looking pretty nice, 73 and sunny on Saturday. Some smoke coming back in on Sunday. Next week, with the wind increasing, watch that fire danger increasing, and it should be very nice, unusual start here for October in Helena as well.
All right, and that does it for the News at 6. We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Thanks for watching.